بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I'm still making videos, so I guess the homie from back in the day told me he likes my videos. Out of all the stuff I post, he said he likes the videos. So I'm like, okay. But I've gotten into reading on my phone, which is completely new for me. I've never been inclined to read old fashioned. I like books, but it's you know it's working. I was able to finish Bobby's book. I finished Brandy's book, which I wasn't sure I had to stop reading it. People like her, supremely talented, and she's like the only person I know of who's younger than I am who is up there with Aretha and Gladys and Whitney, as far as talent, but also hardships in life, so I told her, and it's surprising because this is the first time I've ever contacted her. I've loved her since I Want to Be Down. When I saw that video, I saw myself at 16 on the floor in my room on the phone, and I was like, good Lord, who is she? Then I'm in Lamert walking down 43rd right before you get to Degnan. Daytime, just walking with the homies, and one of them mentioned that Brandy was about to have her own television show. And she told me what the name of the show was, and then she was like making mockery of the stereotypical ghetto black girl name of the show, and she's like nudging me, and I'm like, I don't think there's anything to ridicule about Brandy at all, and she was a writer on the show. I guess it just goes to show people, not who you think they are, But so I ended up working in production, and Moesha, it's on my page because I was broke. So I started looking for work, and I said, I'm gonna try to be an extra. So all these companies, and they said you have to have something on your profile to show that you have work, because I'm not in a union or anything like that. I just feel like it's an easy way to make some money. Honestly, so, but having worked in production, when an actor or actresses or they need an extra, go stand over there, just sit there. She's not here, so just play the girl, so, oh, and we're gonna pay you, whatever she was gonna get. Cool, so that's how I ended up on Moesha. But the thing about it is, being from Lamert and talking to people, is like this one dude in particular will be like, you ain't been on Moesha yet? And I'm like, no, because all the den scenes of like Project Blow, everybody who was in Project Blow, I guess they got a memo, come out on such and such a date, we're filming, and like multiple times people have been on Moesha. But that never happened to me. I never been there, and I missed out on that. But I got like a feature part on the show, which was cool. And so I'm telling her all this, and then I get to the part that I really want to say. I told her read Message to the Black Man because she says, just like most people, black people in America, raised in a church, but when you reach a certain age, you start searching. You have some people have something inside that says this is not right. You know, I'm gonna keep looking. And she went to Farrakhan, and they apparently he wanted to meet her and all that, but she said, "Let me keep studying," and she had too many problems with it. So, and then right next she goes to start talking about Scientology. So I'm pretty sure she didn't study the right things. So I just sent her a link to Message to the Black Man and told her, you know, it's it'll give you an idea of what the book is, but it's been tampered with. So it was until you can get your own hard copy, you know, with this. So hopefully she'll read it and we'll see, because like right now, and the book just came out like maybe a couple of months ago, and she has been on Broadway theater for years. I've known a long time. You know, she was in Chicago, and the only role or character I know from Chicago is like the one that Queen Latifah played. And I think she's like a madam, like Big Mama Thornton or something like that. But as I'm reading the book, after I read Barry Gordy's book, somebody, you know how they have the reviews in the beginning? They said, this book should come with a Motown soundtrack. So while you're reading it, you can also listen to the music, which is the soundtrack that should accompany the book. Brilliant idea. So now whenever I read a musician's autobiography, like Bobby's, I was playing his music while I was reading it. And they're so complimentary. It helps you get more into the book. So I did the same thing with Brandy, but man, she goes into so much detail about the creative process. It was really enlightening to me as a vocalist, as a musician. I was recorded when I was a baby, but that was my parents doing that type shit, you know. So I no clue how the creative process works, but she said it's a very in-depth process, and I still haven't been able to get through. Like, I bought Full Moon when it came out and loved it. I still think the title song is like a classic. Up until just recently, I used to listen to it every time there was a full moon. I used to sing it, record it, all kind of crazy arrangements. But she the book is really good. It's a really good book. I ended up, after I wrote her, I was able to go back and finish it. And if you are into music and want to pursue it, I think it's really good to read about people's personal, individual experiences, because no two people are alike. And both Bobby and she said that's something that they knew they wanted to do their entire life. You know, it's like, I'm not doing nothing but music and performing, and that was them, you know. So I'm like, when you have that type of mentality, it's no way you cannot do that. So after I finished the book, the book app say, you want some suggestions? Try these, and I was like, I don't really want to read those. So I go to my timeline, and Lil Jon just wrote a book, and I feel like I'm calling him Yahya because he's a Muslim, and there's so many people upset about that because they're not going to get any more window, they're not going to get any more of that. But he's still, the music that he's doing is kind of like Sufi, kind of like Ben Three Stacks, real mellow, like hurts, and getting into the subliminal aspects of music and everything. It's really chill from what I heard. I liked it, but his image, he has to change his name for one, cut your hair. You're a Muslim now, and you don't want to get pulled back into the dunya. So I'm calling him Yahya, and at the very least, I'm just calling him John. Because if you notice how he spells it, it's just Jon. Most people don't spell it like that. But because he has that prefix in front of it, but just call him John, and it's like a totally different person. But so that came up, but I wasn't able to find it. I don't know if it's not out yet or what, but it's not on my book app. I couldn't find it anywhere on the internet. I'm participating in the summer book challenge since I'm reading, and plus I just like doing that type of thing. So I couldn't find it on their website, and it's a library website. I haven't tried Libby yet, but I downloaded the app and I'm getting notifications, so maybe I'll check Libby. But as I was searching John, Yahya, Jermaine Dupri pops up. He wrote an autobiography back in, like, when he was hot. He wrote a book, and he mentioned Janet like 3 times just in the introduction. So they were still together. He was working on her album, and he seemed like he was so in love with her. I didn't know that. I just, everybody knew they were together at a certain point, and I thought it was so cool because they just seemed like, they could make it work. But I don't know what it's like to be the baby girl of the Jacksons. She's so oh no, they probably like, no, not my baby sister, but I can't imagine. You'd see after all these people were bringing up what happened after Poetic Justice, she and Pac hit it off, but after the movie wraps, we're sorry, and he went on Arsenio and blasted her like that. But I'm sure her parents, especially Joseph, I'm sure he had something to do with that. Nobody wants their daughter with Tupac unless you're like super revolutionary and you can kind of understand what his struggle has been, because he's keep your head up and real positive, and black community, named from a mama and a woman and all this, but he's also 7, and he just has a very contradictory approach to the sisters, which is more than I can say for most brothers, because the ones that are pro-black, they got white wives, hate black women, and I'm like, at least he had the positive side for the black women too, in spite of all the other perceptions, because he mentioned when he came to California, and Northern California is notorious for prostitution and pimping and players ball and all that stuff, and he couldn't believe how they treated women, their approach to black women. He couldn't believe it when he came out here. He was, I can't believe you guys are talking about women, black women like this. That was Tupac. I just watched the documentary, came out in 2003, and it's called Dear Mama. So if you could get if you're able to watch that, it was kind of cool, you know. So JD, Jermaine Dupri, book came up. It's called Young, Rich, and Dangerous, because he's like 30 something, and it's ironic because I'm like Muslim, but I've always had expensive taste for some reason. I don't know why, but on the flip side, I'm very economical. You know what I mean? I don't mind shopping at TJ Maxx to get designer stuff. I don't mind shopping at Goodwill. The best pair of pants I ever seen in my life, I got for my son from Salvation Army or Goodwill or something like that. They were brand new, Brooks Brothers, and I sewed. So I was looking at these pants like, oh my God, the zipper is actually made into the fabric of the pants. Never seen nothing like that in my life, you know. Oh, it was incredible. But Brooks Brothers, you know, they're expensive, but at Goodwill, $3 or something like that, you know. So that type of expensive taste. But I'm looking at the book, and I got a free trial for this book app, and I was still trying to get Yahya's book, but I didn't want to use my last free book unless it was good. So I read the part that they allow you to sample, and he said, I think that is the rudest thing in the world. I don't want to hear your music. I hope your eardrums bust. So I recently posted not too long ago something about Jay-Z, and the only song that I could ever tolerate by Jay-Z, I was thinking it was Diddy, but it was JD, Money Ain't a Thing. Money Ain't a Thing. But that's the only song that I ever liked from Jay-Z. Kinda that song with Beyonce, Me and My Girlfriend, but the collabs, you know, I don't Ether. I'll just say that. So I'm probably gonna post it, and I'm gonna ask you again, if you know a good way that I could learn video editing, because it's been almost 30 years since I graduated from college in 1997. It'll be 30 years next year. Oh my God. I feel awesome. I'm still here, you know, and I had some close calls, but I'm still here. I just turned 55, so all those summer program booklets, and I can actually participate in the senior classes, and it's so I feel excited, you know. I can take music therapy and whatever, and all sorts of resources, senior discount housing, Kapuna hours at the grocery store, Kapuna discounts, and I'm really excited about that. I'm stoked. So yeah, that's another thing about JD. This is the point of this video. Since I'm reading his book, I'm so melancholy about when I think about the House of Blues. When The Good Life was going on, as much as I wanted to go when I was in high school, because we used to drive by on our way to church, and all these cool people outside my age, I couldn't do nothing. But when I could, I completely forgot about it. I'm in Hollywood at, all kind of fun stuff, but I don't know. Somebody told me telepathically that they used to have Blow It on Sunday. And I mean, not Blow, but The Good Life on Sunday. And I'm like, seriously? I was thinking maybe I'm going to choir rehearsal or Bible study or something like that. But if it was on Sunday, that would explain why I never went over there. Because Sunday wasn't no kind of club. Not on Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Wednesday, maybe, but never on Sunday. So, that could explain why I never went to a Good Life. But House of Blues, it was more like a home, like my second home. Lamert was my first home. House of Blues would be my second home because the other place was not a home. But I was at the House of Blues 2 or 3 times a month. I knew the PR director, first name. Hey, Noah. But after he left, then and now I'm looking back on it, it just went downhill, and he saw it most likely. And one day before I moved, I was in Hollywood on Sunset. I was walking or skating or something. I was not on the bus. I don't drive. But I was walking down Sunset, and I was like, let me find the House of Blues. Let me see it. I couldn't tell when I was right in front of it. It looked so different. It was daytime, and they painted it white. It looked like a regular house, which is baffling because it used to be black. And I'm always there at nighttime. It's always all kind of people around, maybe bistro lights. And it's set on a hill. So if you go down Sunset, it's right on the corner. But to go in, you had to go downhill and you're going on the side. If you go a little bit more, it's like VIP or whatever. But the House of Blues, the architecture is so progressive, so creative. The first floor, you got the stage, you got a dance floor, you got like some high table, bars, stools, and things like that around the perimeter. The second floor is a whole lot of space, right? And where the stage is, it's like nothing right there. And then the back half is a restaurant where you can order dinner, meals. When I was in New Orleans, I went to see Raheem Devon, and somebody gave me their leftover shrimp, and it was pretty good, but it's basically exactly the same. If you're there before the show starts, people having dinner and everything, and it's like this, right? But when the show is about to start, the lights go down, music changes, you might hear an announcer, but the restaurant is people sitting right there. You could look down, but when the show starts, that part splits open in half, and the outside of the restaurant opens up, and the in half,